as Jose Antonio Carrillo, who is a FIDE Continental President for Americas, making the first move in the women's candidates. So we see the players, they are ready. We see moves have been made. So we are off. It is the second half of the candidates officially underway. And I guess we'll see what openings are trotted out by these 8 contestants. And Anish, again, you've been there before. You know what it's like to sit in this exact playing hall. Of course, your candidates event didn't go the way you wanted. You didn't end up in first. But for the players who are not in first place right now, what kind of pressure do they put themselves in? How do you sort of...
17-year-old Gukesh experienced heartbreak in round 7 of the tournament after losing to Alireza Firouzja. It was a game where the teenager from India seemed to have an advantage till he ran into trouble on the clock. The defeat meant that Gukesh let slip his chance to go on top of the standings as the sole leader heading into the halfway mark of the Candidates 2024.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and see how the opening pans out. Okay, finally he makes a move.
But Danya, he decided castle, which just keeps us in a relatively normal position. Nothing major has happened.
Wow.
And look at Gukesh, h6. So he puts his A pawn, his H pawn. Now does it remind you a little bit of how Magnus plays in certain Queen's pawns open?
Or how a beginner plays, when you first learn chess, the most common two is like A3 and H3 because they're afraid to push pawns in the center. But a funny little story, as Anish was talking, I checked the position after A6. It's an exceedingly rare move, but at first I got very excited. I saw the game Lasker versus Bogolyubov. I saw some old classics, but ChessBase kept indicating that somehow it was Black's move here. And then I realized it wasn't a glitch. It's just that in the old days, before people really understood the rudiments of the Ruy Lopez, it was very common after bishop e5, a6, to drop the bishop back to c4. Now we know that this is a complete waste of time because a6 is a very useful move for Black in the Italian. So that Bogolyubov-Lasker game, yes, it reached this position, except in most of those games it was Black to play. And that's why we saw bishop e7 or bishop c5. So this position with White to play is very rare. Knight g5 has about 10-15 games, and I think indeed Black's idea is to push d5 and then play in fried liver style, where the move a6 is very useful, takes away the b5 square from the bishop. But it's a moot point now. Castle's h6. I'm a big fan of early h6 setups in the Italian. Often the idea is to prepare g7, g5, but in light of the fact that you've played a6, I wouldn't flirt with complete lack of kingside development here. And kind of a very flexible, mysterious approach by Gukesh. He keeps Vidit guessing. Is he going to go bishop e7? Is he going to go bishop c5? Is he going to play g7, g5? And I agree with Anish. I think if you want to force your opponent to burn a ton of time, this is a great way to do it. folks. We won't miss a single second of the Hikaru action. But while he's thinking G4, looks like everything has gone wrong here for black. No! Rook takes F5, 3 different pieces on pre, but the most important line takes G5 is just a oops, sorry about that. G5 is a gorgeous checkmate. Let me do this again. The king has no squares, and the supplementary line, if white plays E takes F5, then I think queen G3, a little bit less glamorous, but still beautiful. Look at this retreating move. Shuttling the king to the H-file and queen takes pawn is another incredible and unconventional mating pattern. Vidit's coming to terms with this. He's got no moves. Rook takes F5 is essentially pre-movable in this situation. Hikaru has taken the rook in the meantime, so wow, just wow. The cherry on top, Robert, the exclamation point. G3 and knight H7. This is not, blind stubbornness, unwillingness to accept the result. It's a classy move, just letting Gukesh demonstrate it for the fans. Knight H7 on the board. Dude, shakes hands, yeah.
Handshake in this one, we expected that from Gukesh.
Let's go to the other game.
Gukesh defeated compatriot Vidit Gujrathi in a round 8 clash at the Candidates Chess Tournament to bounce back with style after his defeat in the previous round. Vidit, who has frequently found himself plagued by time troubles in the tournament, had courted time trouble initially in the game against Gukesh as well. But then he managed to almost draw level on the clock. There was a point when Vidit needed to make 23 moves in just 38 minutes.